There's always a stunt involving an airplane. But guess what? Today I can reveal that Meghan Markle's fakery with British Airways has just been exposed. To that very shortly.
Meghan tried to kind of hide this debacle that was Geneva by going, oh, look at our anniversary. Look how wonderful this is.
Prince Harry moved from partner to manservant in his relationship with Meghan Markle.
It's their 8th wedding anniversary today, posted by Meghan on Instagram. I thought it was extraordinary. I mean, there's this sort of copious selection of, very compelling photographs of that wedding, never seen before.
Meghan Markle has just had a date night with a Finnish man who has been accused of both sexual harassment and racism.
Be real for a second. The instant that polished little card popped up on Meghan Markle's Instagram, something about it felt way too staged, way too perfect, way too carefully packaged for the cameras. People didn't even need proof at first, because the vibe alone already had folks side-eyeing the entire thing online. And then, just hours later, the receipts started pouring out fast and messy. And suddenly, that sweet anniversary moment turned into another public relations headache nobody could ignore. But here's the detail that really made people stop and stare. Harry barely made a sound through the whole thing. No emotional anniversary post, no public message, no cute throwback picture, nothing at all. While Meghan was out there pushing this glossy emotional story to the public, Harry seemed completely checked out from the entire performance. And honestly, that silence started speaking louder than anything else in the room. Now picture the timing, because this is where the situation gets even more awkward.
Meghan had this post about she was so excited, and she had this card because British Airways gave me this happy anniversary card, and everyone in the crew signed it. They just love me so much, and they're so happy for us.
She leaks to People magazine, her propagandist at People magazine, that this was the crew, the British Airways crew. And she was just so touched that they loved her so much. Here's the article. Meghan Markle was moved by the kindness of a British Airways flight crew who helped ring in her wedding anniversary with Prince Harry. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex marked 8 years of marriage on Tuesday and shared a glimpse of the heartfelt gesture she received while travelling home from Geneva, Switzerland the day before. Posting to her Instagram stories, Meghan revealed a handwritten note from the British Airways flight crew thanking them publicly for helping make the occasion special. Thanks to this amazing flight crew for all the love yesterday. Appreciate all your memories and kind words, she wrote, tagging a British Airways.
Meghan had just come back from what many critics were already calling one of the roughest public appearances she's had in a long time. Headlines were ugly, commentators were dragging the event non-stop, and social media was filled with clips and reactions, picking apart every little detail. She desperately needed something softer to flip the narrative around, something warm and emotional to flood everyone's feeds before the criticism completely took over the news cycle. Then suddenly, right on cue, comes the anniversary post. A handwritten card, cream-coloured paper, fancy looping signatures spread dramatically across both pages, like something out of a romantic movie scene. A tiny Union Jack emoji sitting perfectly in the caption, like a calculated little detail meant to tug on royal nostalgia. And the message itself sounded almost too polished to be believable. Thanks to this amazing flight crew for all the love yesterday.
Alongside a Union Jack emoji, the card read, "Dearest Harry and Meghan, wishing you a wonderful wedding anniversary with love, the whole British Airways family." Covered with signatures and personal notes, it was also marked BA269 and dated May the 18th. A source close to the Duchess of Sussex, this is how much she wants people to know about this card, right? Tells People, Meghan's flight crew was so lovely. On her way back from Geneva, they all came to say happy anniversary and shared their memories of where they were on the day. I thought Meghan thought the whole thing was horrible. The crew's gesture also included treats for the couple's children. They wrote Harry and Meghan a card and gave them a bottle of champagne and British candies for Harry and the kids, the source adds. It was very special and so appreciated by Meghan, who wanted to publicly thank them. She was truly... When booking, this is on BA, you can add a complimentary personalised message for your partner. Let the flight attendants know it is your anniversary when you board, especially if you are celebrating a major milestone like a 10th or 25th anniversary. It is up to the crew's discretion, but they often present couples with a complimentary bottle of bubble and a signed crew card.
Then she tags British Airways directly, making sure everybody sees the airline attached to the moment. The lighting in the photo looked professionally soft, almost editorial level polished. The framing was neat, balanced, and carefully positioned like somebody spent serious time making sure the shot looked flawless before it hit Instagram. And just like clockwork, here comes the media machine spinning into action. Within hours, People magazine suddenly had the exclusive story ready to go. Not a casual mention, not a quick write-up, but a full emotional narrative describing how the entire flight crew supposedly approached Meghan one by one to share where they were on her wedding day 8 years earlier. According to the article, the crew handed over a heartfelt handwritten card, gifted the children British sweets, and even presented champagne to Harry and Meghan during the flight.
This Tash revealed, wait, what? Meghan arranged an anniversary card to be given to her on her flight? She pre-ordered and then gave the exclusive to People magazine? And then Tash delivered the receipts. Look at this. And we're going to read through this together because Meghan's just been well and truly rumbled. Since BA does not centrally arrange standalone cards, it is best to bring your own special card on board if you hand it to a crew member. Tash, I cannot believe it. When I saw it, I just thought, I don't believe this for a second, because she is well known amongst BA to be the worst passenger. She has a terrible reputation, and people can go back to my old video where I revealed all of this detail about how much she is hated on British Airways flights.
Like they were royalty floating through the skies in some fairy tale romance. Then came the quote from the mysterious source close to the Duchess, saying Meghan was truly so touched by the entire experience. Come on now, everybody already knows how these stories work. That source close to the Duchess line had people rolling their eyes instantly because royal watchers have seen this exact formula play out again and again for years. Every time there's a glowing emotional article filled with oddly specific feelings and behind-the-scenes details, somehow an unnamed close source magically appears to explain exactly how Meghan felt during every second of the situation. Meanwhile, Harry, still silent, and people noticed that silence more and more as the story kept unraveling. Because while Meghan was busy pushing this picture-perfect anniversary narrative into the headlines, Harry didn't seem interested in participating publicly at all. No statement, no reaction, no repost, nothing.
That's despite the fact, and you might remember actually, because it's one of my most watched YouTube videos. Look at this from the past. My British Airways whistleblowers had revealed that she is one of the worst passengers to ever travel on their airline. She was rude to the air hostesses. She tried to get upgrades. That was before she met Prince Harry. And she refused to even look after Archie on the flight. And he was crying for a long time before the nannies got involved. She claims that the British Airways crew on her flight from Europe back to Los Angeles just happened to know that it was her 8th wedding anniversary and just happened to write her this card expressing what a delight she is on the flight.
Then came the moment the whole thing started collapsing in real time. All it took was one royal commentator checking British Airways' own website, and suddenly the entire surprise story started looking very different. Folks online couldn't believe how fast the fairy tale started falling apart once actual airline policies entered the conversation. Because here's what people discovered. British Airways literally has an anniversary service already built into their customer experience program. It's not secret, it's not rare. It's openly listed right there on their official website for customers to use. Passengers celebrating birthdays, anniversaries, honeymoons, and special occasions can notify the airline ahead of time when booking or boarding their flight. And guess what happens next? The crew may provide complimentary champagne, they may sign a card, They may even help create a celebratory moment during the flight for passengers, marking a special occasion. In other words, this wasn't some spontaneous emotional explosion where random strangers were overwhelmed by Meghan's presence and decided to create a magical tribute out of pure admiration. It was literally a standard customer service feature. That revelation hit social media like gasoline on a fire. People immediately started mocking how dramatic the original story suddenly sounded once the public realized ordinary passengers could request the exact same treatment. Anybody flying business class on their anniversary could potentially arrange a similar setup. Yet the headlines were framed like Meghan had inspired this once-in-a-lifetime emotional reaction from the crew, simply by existing on the plane. But the part that really sent royal viewers into detective mode came next. Buried deeper in British Airways policy information was another detail that completely changed the entire story. The airline reportedly does not centrally provide standalone celebration cards for passengers. Instead, customers are encouraged to bring their own card on board if they want crew signatures collected during the flight. Read that again, because people online absolutely lost it over this detail. The official guidance basically suggests passengers can bring a card themselves, hand it over to crew members for signatures, and then take it home afterward. So now, critics were asking the obvious question everybody was suddenly thinking at the same time. Did Meghan possibly bring the card herself? Because if that's what happened, the whole social media presentation suddenly transforms from heartfelt, spontaneous tribute into something much more carefully orchestrated and managed behind the scenes. And honestly, once people started looking at it through that lens, the entire post began feeling even more staged than before. The dramatic presentation, the magazine-ready photo, the instant media coverage, the emotional quotes, the polished storytelling, all of it suddenly started looking less like a random sweet moment and more like a carefully prepared public image repair strategy. Social media absolutely exploded with comparisons too. People joked that it was like calling ahead to a restaurant, asking staff to bring out birthday candles and cake, then later posting online pretending complete strangers were emotionally moved by your presence and spontaneously decided to celebrate you out of nowhere. And the criticism didn't stop there, because longtime royal watchers suddenly remembered older stories involving Meghan and British Airways that had circulated years earlier. Reports from past airline insiders allegedly claimed she had a difficult reputation while flying, with accusations of demanding behavior and complaints about seating arrangements and upgrades. Those stories had already existed long before this anniversary drama suddenly hit the headlines again. So critics started asking how the same airline environment where those old stories circulated was now supposedly overflowing with emotional admiration for her. To many viewers online, the entire situation simply didn't add up cleanly. The math started looking shaky fast. Then came the internet detectives. Within less than 12 hours, royal viewers were zooming into the actual photo itself like investigators examining evidence in a crime documentary. People analyzed the handwriting, the signatures, the card placement, even the angles and presentation of the photograph. Social media users were comparing timelines, airline policies, old reports, and article wording all at once while trying to piece together what really happened behind the scenes. And that's exactly when the whole thing started getting even messier. The moment people started digging into the image itself, the entire conversation shifted into full detective mode online, and the findings people claimed to uncover spread fast across comment sections and forums everywhere. What began as a simple Instagram post suddenly turned into a breakdown of every tiny detail, with viewers pausing, zooming, rechecking, and comparing notes like they were building a case from scratch. The first thing that jumped out, according to online commenters, was something that looked completely off with the signatures on the card. A name reading Richie Rich appeared not just once, but twice, and in two noticeably different handwriting styles. One signature was written in tight, controlled cursive along one side of the card, while the second version appeared slightly looser. spaced a few centimeters away like it had been added later or under different focus. People online immediately started pointing out how strange it looked, suggesting it seemed like someone forgot they had already written the same fictional name and then repeated it again without noticing the inconsistency. Others went further, claiming it looked like one person sitting with a pen trying to keep track of multiple characters and losing consistency midway through the act, which only fueled more speculation across social platforms. Then came the second detail that made the conversation explode even more. Viewers began counting signatures one by one, carefully zooming into the image to tally every name written on the card. The final count, according to multiple commenters, reached 18 separate signatures. That number alone raised eyebrows instantly because aviation enthusiasts and retired flight staff quickly jumped into the discussion to provide context. A former flight attendant reportedly explained that British Airways long-haul crews typically max out at around 16 crew members, depending on aircraft configuration and staffing assignments. That meant, if the count was accurate, the card appeared to contain more signatures than the number of people who would normally even be present on that type of flight. And that's when the discussion took another turn. The third detail, according to commenters who claimed experience in handwriting analysis, focused on the actual formation of the letters across the signatures. People began comparing lowercase t shapes, the curvature of Y tails, and the style of R strokes across what were supposed to be different individuals writing independently. What they claimed to find was unsettling consistency. The same letter formations appeared repeated across multiple names, almost identical in structure, spacing, and rhythm. The only difference, according to these online observations, was pen pressure. Some signatures looked darker or more pressed into the paper, while others appeared lighter, as if someone intentionally varied pressure to simulate different people writing at different times. That detail made commenters even more suspicious because it suggested one hand might have been trying to disguise repetition through subtle variations instead of genuine multiple writers contributing independently. Then came another omission that people quickly latched onto. There was reportedly no British Airways letterhead on the card at all. Critics pointed out that official airline correspondence, especially anything tied to crew acknowledgements or branded service experiences, typically includes standardized stationery or at least recognizable corporate formatting. Instead, what viewers saw was described as a blank greeting card, which immediately raised questions about where it came from and how it was presented. Even more notable to commenters was what was missing entirely from the signatures. No captain, no purser, no cabin service manager, no identifiable crew roles at all. People pointed out that in real aviation settings, especially on long-haul flights, crew members usually sign with their name plus their role because that is part of their professional identity on board. The absence of that detail, according to critics online, made the entire presentation feel even more unusual. Some aviation-focused users also weighed in, claiming that a full crew working a long international flight like that would be extremely busy handling meals, drinks, safety procedures, passenger needs, and coordination tasks. They argued that the idea of 18 separate heartfelt handwritten messages being produced mid-flight didn't match the reality of how demanding those work hours usually are. In their view, crew members would not realistically have the time to craft detailed, personalized notes for passengers while managing full cabin duties at the same time. But then the situation escalated beyond just the card itself, because another detail, this time a printed number in the corner of AA, the image became the focus of intense scrutiny online. That small marking reportedly read BA269, dated May 18th. People immediately began searching the flight number, and what they found triggered even more discussion across platforms. BA269, according to publicly available flight tracking references mentioned by commenters, corresponds to a route from London Heathrow to Los Angeles. That detail alone didn't seem unusual at first, but then users pointed out something critical. That flight does not originate from Geneva. In fact, they claimed it has never operated from Geneva at all. And that's when the conversation started to spiral into a much bigger interpretation of the timeline. Because if that flight number was correct, then it suggested something very different from what many initially assumed. Online users began speculating that Meghan may not have flown directly home from Switzerland, but instead had a stopover at Heathrow Airport. That possibility shifted the narrative completely because it meant she could have been physically present in the United Kingdom for several hours during her journey. And that immediately clashed with years of public discussions surrounding safety concerns and travel hesitation narratives that had been previously associated with her UK visits. Commenters started pointing out the contradiction loudly. The same person who had previously avoided high-profile appearances in Britain citing security concerns, according to public discussions, was now potentially moving through Heathrow quietly without incident. Some users emphasized that there were no reports of disruptions or issues during that transit, which made the situation even more confusing to those following the story closely. Others questioned the lack of documentation from that moment. No airport selfies, no casual lounge photos, no travel posts. Nothing that would typically appear on a highly public social media account during such a notable travel moment. Critics online argued that the absence of visual proof made the timeline feel even more mysterious, especially given how carefully curated the Instagram post appeared afterward. From there, commenters began layering in older references as well. Some pointed back to Meghan's own Netflix documentary, where she described an emotional farewell flight from the UK in March 2020. In that account, she reportedly said a senior cabin crew member approached her, knelt beside her seat, removed his hat, and personally thanked her for her service to Great Britain. That moment was presented as deeply emotional and symbolic within the storytelling of the documentary. However, critics quickly resurfaced a detail that had been discussed widely before. Male flight attendants typically do not wear hats in commercial aviation uniforms. That inconsistency led viewers at the time, and again in this renewed discussion, to question whether the moment as described could have happened exactly as portrayed. Then users recalled other moments that followed similar patterns. An American Airlines flight attendant later appeared online, praising Meghan as a wonderful passenger, which some viewers interpreted as coordinated positivity surfacing at just the right time. Others saw it as harmless appreciation, but skeptics included it in a broader pattern they believed they were noticing. Another example brought up was a televised appearance on the Drew Barrymore show, where Meghan held up a handwritten card allegedly given to her by Harry and the children. Viewers claimed the card looked similar in style and presentation to other cards she had previously shown in different contexts, which led to more comparisons being made frame by frame across social media clips. And then there was the podcast appearance with Jamie Kern-Lima, where Meghan once again referenced a heartfelt note from Harry and her children, describing it emotionally while holding it up during the conversation. Commenters pointed out how similar the structure felt each time. A personal, emotional story, a physical handwritten note presented as proof, and a carefully timed media moment that followed shortly after. Across all of these instances, online users began identifying what they believed was a repeating pattern, a moment involving emotional storytelling, a handwritten message appearing at just the right time, an exclusive media rollout shortly after, and a noticeable lack of independent verification or outside witnesses confirming the details in real time. And that's exactly why the discussion didn't slow down. Instead, it kept building momentum, with each new claimed observation adding another layer to the already intense scrutiny of the entire situation. Here's where things start to feel less like a sweet anniversary clip and more like something the internet couldn't stop dissecting from every angle. The anniversary video posted alongside the now-debated card didn't land as the simple, harmless family moment it was probably meant to be. At first, it looks straightforward. Harry is in a kitchen, there's a cake, and the mood is meant to feel warm and personal. But viewers online said the real shift happens when you don't just watch it once, but when you replay it again and again. Watch it once and it seems fine. Watch it twice and small inconsistencies start appearing. Watch it 3 times and, according to critics online, the entire moment begins to feel different in tone and intent. The most discussed detail is Harry singing "Happy Anniversary" to Mama instead of anything more traditional or shared like "to us." Meghan is filming with her phone and at the end she quickly adds "and Papa," which many viewers said felt like an afterthought rather than a natural part of the moment. That small exchange became a major talking point online. Some viewers saw it as casual family energy, while others said it felt awkwardly staged and unusually specific for an anniversary celebration. Then came the comparison people kept repeating. Have you ever seen an anniversary celebrated like a birthday, with a sung performance, cake, and candles arranged like a staged moment? That question kept coming up because many said it didn't match how anniversaries usually feel in real life. The cake detail added even more speculation. There were 4 candles on the cake, even though the couple has reportedly been married for 8 years. That mismatch immediately triggered debate, with some calling it symbolic and others saying it pointed to older footage being reused. That's when commentators pushed a bigger theory. They suggested the video might not be from the current anniversary at all, but from their 4th anniversary years ago, reposted as new content. That idea spread quickly because it seemed to explain several of the inconsistencies viewers were pointing out. Then attention shifted to the children's voices in the background. People online said the voices sounded younger than expected, more like toddlers than older children. Parents in comment sections agreed, saying the tone and sound didn't match the ages of the children today, adding fuel to the theory that the footage could be older and pulled from a family archive. Even the cake itself became a topic of debate. Harry is shown holding it easily with one hand, and critics argued that a fully iced cake of that size would normally be heavier and less stable. That led some viewers to suggest it might be a prop or staged object, rather than a real celebration cake. Once that idea spread, everything else was viewed more suspiciously. Then came the penguin reference. Meghan explains on camera that they dressed as penguins at their engagement party because penguins mate for life. But online users quickly pointed out that penguins don't actually form lifelong bonds in the way people assume, instead forming seasonal pair bonds depending on species. That detail sparked another wave of discussion. People also noted that penguin symbolism has appeared in royal contexts before, including London Zoo gifting penguin-related symbolism to William and Catherine, which made some viewers say even that detail felt oddly familiar or borrowed. Then, the conversation expanded beyond the video into branding and timing. During the same period, Meghan's brand, as ever, reportedly used a widely recognized aerial image of Harry and Meghan's royal wedding carriage for promotional content. The image shows them in full ceremonial dress outside St. George's Chapel, one of the most iconic royal wedding visuals ever released. Critics online said it became more controversial because the image was placed above a candle advertisement. The product was described as a candle inspired by their wedding day, turning a major royal event into a commercial product. That sparked backlash online because the wedding itself was a massive public event funded by British taxpayers, estimated at over £32 million. At the same time, Meghan has previously described that same wedding period as emotionally difficult and overwhelming, which made the branding shift feel contradictory to some viewers. Now, the same wedding was being reframed as a luxury lifestyle product. That contradiction became a major point of debate. Then attention moved to royal rules and agreements. People referenced the Sandringham Agreement tied to Harry's royal exit, which includes restrictions on monetizing royal identity and events. Critics argued that turning wedding imagery into commercial candle marketing may push those boundaries, while supporters called it lifestyle branding and storytelling. The debate split audiences sharply online. But through all of this, one detail stood out more than anything else. Harry's silence. No posts, no statements, no reposts, no anniversary message, and no public reaction during the entire discussion. Everything being said about the anniversary came from Meghan's posts, media coverage, or unnamed sources close to the Duchess, which critics often interpret as indirect messaging. That silence became its own storyline, because while the video, card theories, and branding debate grew louder, Harry remained completely absent from the public narrative around it. Some viewers then made emotional comparisons. They recalled the public image of Harry from earlier years, the soldier who served in Afghanistan, the founder of Invictus Games, the young prince who walked behind his mother's coffin, and someone who showed emotion openly during major royal events. And they contrasted that with what they were seeing now in this moment, a quieter presence, a background role in a story being publicly narrated mostly by someone else. That contrast became one of the most discussed angles online, because instead of a simple anniversary celebration, what people were left analyzing was silence, timing, symbolism, recycled footage theories, and branding decisions all layered into one viral debate. And as the conversation kept growing online, viewers kept circling back to the same question. Was this a genuine present-day celebration, or a carefully curated piece of storytelling built from older moments and strategic presentation? Comment and subscribe.